During the early years of World War II, Nazi Germany shocked the world with a series of rapid, overwhelming victories. Poland, France, the Low Countries, and much of Scandinavia fell in mere weeks or months. At the heart of these stunning successes was a new method of warfare known as Blitzkrieg, or lightning war. More than just a tactic, Blitzkrieg represented a radical rethinking of modern warfare, combining speed, coordination, and technological superiority. What is Blitzkrieg? Blitzkrieg refers to fast, coordinated military attack designed to break through enemy lines and quickly collapse resistance before a full defense can be mounted. It relies on speed, surprise, and concentrated force, rather than the slow, grinding battles of World War I. Key elements include mechanized infantry, soldiers in trucks or armored vehicles, tanks, panzers, breaking through front lines, air power, Luftwaffe, striking enemy positions, communication lines, and rear areas, radio coordination for real-time communication between units. The goal was not to occupy every inch of territory, but to disrupt and paralyze the enemy, forcing a rapid collapse of command, morale, and supply lines. The origins of Blitzkrieg. Blitzkrieg was not officially codified as doctrine in Germany, but it evolved from lessons learned during World War I. The static trench warfare of 1914 to 1918 led military thinkers to search for more mobile and flexible methods. German generals like Heinz Guderian were key in developing armored tactics. Guderian advocated for tanks to be used en masse and independently, not just to support infantry, but to lead attacks deep into enemy territory. He stressed combined arms warfare, where infantry, tanks, artillery, and aircraft worked together as a cohesive force. Blitzkrieg in action, early campaigns. Poland, 1939. Germany invaded Poland on September 1, 1939, launching World War II. The Polish army was quickly overwhelmed by fast-moving German armor and relentless aerial bombardments. Within 5 weeks, Poland was defeated, despite its large army. France and the Low Countries, 1940. Perhaps the most stunning example of Blitzkrieg was the German invasion of France and the Low Countries in May 1940. Allied forces expected a repeat of World War I and concentrated along the Maginot Line, but German forces struck through the Ardennes forest, considered impassable by tanks. German panzers bypassed strongpoints, encircled enemy forces, and reached the English Channel in just 10 days. Paris fell within 6 weeks. The speed and shock of the assault stunned the world. Balkans and North Africa, 1941. Blitzkrieg tactics were later used in the invasions of Yugoslavia and Greece, and adapted in North Africa by commanders like Erwin Rommel, who became known as the Desert Fox for his use of rapid maneuver and surprise. The role of the Luftwaffe. Air power was essential to Blitzkrieg's success. The Luftwaffe, German Air Force, provided close air support for ground forces, strategic bombing to destroy railways, roads, and communication centers, psychological warfare, sowing panic among civilians and soldiers. Aircraft like the Junkers Ju-87 Stuka dive bomber became infamous for their screaming sirens and pinpoint attacks. Limitations and decline of Blitzkrieg. Blitzkrieg was devastating against unprepared or conventionally minded enemies. However, it had serious limitations. It relied heavily on fuel and supplies. Vulnerable to disruption, it required good weather and passable terrain. It lost effectiveness in long, drawn-out wars or harsh environments. When Germany invaded the Soviet Union in 1941, the vast distances and stiff resistance bogged down the Blitzkrieg strategy. At Stalingrad, the Red Army absorbed the initial shock, regrouped, and counterattacked. Similarly, in North Africa and later in Western Europe, the Allies learned to adapt, using anti-tank weapons, air superiority, and defense in depth to blunt Germany's advantage. Blitzkrieg's legacy. Despite its eventual decline, Blitzkrieg had a lasting impact on military doctrine worldwide. It demonstrated the power of mobile warfare, combined arms operations, air-ground coordination, speed, and surprise over sheer numbers. Modern militaries, from NATO to Russia to China, have incorporated Blitzkrieg principles, now referred to as maneuver warfare, into their own doctrines. The U.S. campaigns in the Gulf Wars, for example, used rapid, high-tech assaults reminiscent of Blitzkrieg. Blitzkrieg revolutionized warfare in the 20th century. By harnessing mobility, technology, and coordination, Nazi Germany redefined how modern battles could be fought, swiftly, decisively, and shockingly. Though ultimately defeated, the strategy left a permanent imprint on military thinking, showing that speed and innovation can often triumph over brute strength, at least in the short term. Ask ChatGPT.